Recording. Look at that. Welcome to the Avance Podcast.
Nice job. I'm Nick.
I'm Dan.
And we are
recording at MotoFish.
Yeah, I love this space.
Yeah, me too.
I love this space. I will never understand why they let us in here, especially me. But I mean, yeah, it's a great space. The things that come out of here are amazing. I could do so much, and I just want to live here. Actually, like this.
Me too.
This is actually my ultimate setup. Like I think it would work in the fact that I could have a bed up there. Do you think they'd know I was here?
You were very quiet.
I'm showering less now. I mean, that's got to be a thing, right? So
we did our
serving water
here.
Yeah.
MotoFish is a great partner with Avance and the motorsports community in general. I guess the car community in general, not motorsports, but all the above.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can say a lot about them, and I will. But we're thankful for using this space. It's pretty great.
Yeah. Awesome. Comfortable couches too.
I've heard that.
I like where we've been. Where people have seen us record. I like it, but it's a little
corporate.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. 100% corporate. Yeah. It's gone to the birds. Yeah. So.
Hey, so I have a Carter Automotive Group tip of the week.
You do?
Yeah.
Could I hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what the GR in Super
stands
for?
You did not just. Okay. So, yeah.
This is actually Nick's. I would love him to take.
I was driving around today and I saw a Supra, and there's so many things that as automotive people that are in our heads, and so much useless knowledge. My girlfriend talks about it all the time. She's like, I don't know why you know that. And I'm just like, I don't either, but I do. And I can go in deeper. And I saw GR on the back of a Supra, and I was like, huh. And I looked it up, and it's Gazoo Racing. Okay.
Okay.
And when I first saw that and Googled it, I thought, Google's screwing with me because there's no way that a large Japanese company is going to have that as their name. But the translation is Garage Racing. But I have looked at that on badges for years and never questioned it.
Yaris GR that just came out, really
Yaris,
popular. Yeah, I had no idea.
Corolla that apparently is coming into town. I don't know who'd want to buy one of those, but I had never looked it up before, and like I said, I actually Googled a couple of things to make sure that it was legit. So that doesn't seem like that would be the right answer.
I know you wouldn't think so, but yeah, we've all seen the badge 100 times, or if we're in motorsports at all, you've seen that, and I didn't know. I just didn't
question it till today, and I was sitting in a stoplight, and I'm like, huh, which then I proceeded to Google it while driving. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, that's a fun one.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
How are you?
Oh, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Busy. Been moving pavers and.
Oh, pavers! That sounds
that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 trailers load. It's about 20,000 pounds so far.
Yeah, and I mean this kindly as your friend. I went to the chiropractor today, and I had a little girl that weighs about a third of what I do, like manipulate my back, and there's parts of me I haven't felt in a long time, and I'm sitting here like going, oh,
well, don't
so
be on
sore.
the couch.
I try not to. It happened twice, Dan. Twice. Okay.
All right. So before I introduce our guests, I'm going to introduce him and treat him as well. So a couple weeks ago, I was driving away from my house, and as usual, you know where I live up by Dirtfish there. A lot of bicycles on the road there, and if you see somebody pushing down the bike in the middle of the road and out in the middle of nowhere, it's either somebody who's a bicycle enthusiast or somebody who's stolen a bike and does not a lot of math. This person was all kitted up in gear, so I assumed that they just broke down.
Oh.
Yeah. So I pulled over, and sure enough, she'd broken her chain. And so I said, hey, I've got tools. What do you need?
She was riding too hard, too aggressively.
Too aggressive.
That's what it was.
Fast.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't Linnea.
Okay.
It was somebody else on a road bike this time. And so I said, I can give you a ride. It's like, wherever you're going. I was going into Redmond. She lived over outskirts of Duval. Said, I said, I'll make the detour and drop you off on the way in. Got to talking. Turns out she owns a company called Tiny Baked Goods in Redmond.
Which I swear I have either seen or heard of before. I don't know why, but
we've probably seen her stuff at various events because she caters a lot of events and stuff like that. And she said, hey, how can I make it up to you? And I said, someday I will call in this favor. Unlike some people, I will call in this favor.
Our listeners know us, and I think they know your brain. But this, I don't know how you remember this stuff. Like I really don't.
So back in the 80s, Hostess made these cakes, and they were called, what did I call them? Choco. The hell did I just call them? I told you guys when I came in here.
They were like triple chocolate cakes.
Yeah, they're like I think they're just called Choco cakes or something like that. But anyway, I messaged her and I sent her this article about these cakes of discontinued Hostess products. But these were like my favorite cakes growing up. Period. And they're Devil's Food, chocolate cream, Devil's Food cake, and then like a chocolate frosting on top, but it's like a normal chocolate frosting. It's delicious. And if anybody knows me, I love sugar, but especially chocolate.
I just imagine when she said thank you, she's like, if you need anything like a cookie or, like a sheet cake, like, that'd be great. Dan's like, no, I have this recipe. And I'm gonna need you to call Nabisco and
I
figure this out.
I have a challenge for you that I will happily pay for.
Of course.
And I will happily pay for them.
Yeah.
And she delivered today. She called me up and said, I've got your cakes. She's like, if you can meet me, I will be out by Fall City. She knows I live out there, obviously, because I was driving back. And I said, yeah, I'll be driving into the office. Perfect. I will meet you. So I met at the old tavern out in front. She's like, here's your cakes. And she gave me these cakes. And I'm gonna switch the camera a little bit here.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. So these are the cakes. And this is one that I split into 3 pieces because I've already had one today, if I'm being honest, and I will probably have diabetes at the end of the day because she made me 6. So I'm here to share them. So they are as delicious as they look. And I'm just giving her a free plug because this was awesome and so above and beyond anything I ever wanted.
So if you see anybody on the side of the road, pull over gently. Ask them if they need help first before you jump out and steal their bike. But maybe they'll be a lovely
yeah, maybe they own a bakery.
chef.
I'm just saying, it pays to be nice. And not only that,
I can taste how rich those are from here.
It's so good. She does this cake club.
Okay.
And she gave me one of the cakes. They do a small cake delivery like every month or every 2 months, whatever you sign up for. And this theme was like birthday cake, but it had a raspberry sauce on the side and a caramel sauce on the side.
So it's gourmet cake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is next level stuff. So totally free plug because someone gave me free food, and that's how you get free plugs on my show.
Fair enough.
Free food, free beer, whatever. We'll talk about you. But anyway, Tiny Baked Goods out of Redmond. Serena, thank you so much. And Evan, would you like some cake?
I actually already tried some of the cake, and I can vouch it is delicious. It is delicious, both the chocolate and the birthday cake one.
I'm glad you liked it as much as I did.
Yeah,
rich.
Great surprise.
But our guest today is Evan Zema. Evan, welcome to the show. Evan is with Hagerty. Before that, he was a collection manager. He's done a few other things. He bought a boat.
Thank you.
His favorite musician is Bruce Springsteen. And Bruce Willis is his favorite actor.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't entirely know about that. I'm teasing. I don't dislike either of those people.
No. I was. We were testing the mics earlier, and we went into a nice little inner part of his mind, so it was fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How do you like working for Hagerty?
Honestly, I really like it. I started April 4th, so about 3 months in now, and it's going really well. It's a change of pace from the previous gig, but I like it. It's still definitely deeply involved in the car world, and so far so good.
What is your title with Hagerty?
So my official title is Radius Member Experience Manager. And that means nothing to anyone because no one knows what radius is.
That.
Yes. But
isn't that the outer edge of a circle?
Distance from the center.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, the radius.
The circumference.
Circumference. Okay. I listened in math.
Radius, what it is a new by invitation membership community for basically the most passionate or influential people in the car hobby, and it's existed as a small trial group of members for the last almost 2 years. And starting in 2023, we're going to launch to a full, program and start inviting more members and growing it.
Nice.
So,
well, as you know, Hagerty's been a big part of when we were Rain City, and now with Avance, and obviously Ashley has been a good friend of ours for a long time, and I've been a Hagerty member for a long time. So it's great to see you. Welcome to the team with that. I think that's an amazing thing.
Thank you.
So, I mean, how far does your reach go? Are you just Pacific Northwest, or where are you kind of located?
No, obviously I live around here, and but Radius is in the U.S. for now, nationwide, and so that's kind of the area of focus.
Well, I didn't know if you had an area. I'm like, are you just Pacific Northwest, or do you go all the way?
Nope, I'm just working on this program as a whole. It's me
Okay.
and one other person, my friend, Carrie Keller, I've known for years, and really excited to be working with her.
Very
So
cool.
it's our little baby that we're trying to, in conjunction with everyone else at Hagerty, but we're the main people focused on it.
I mean, eventually it's going to get to the point where it's just going to be Hagerty Monterey Car Week, because they have absolutely taken over down there, which I love.
Yeah.
We've been invited to several of the parties. We've been uninvited to many of the parties.
That's half the fun of Car Week,
Right?
But then you go anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Everybody's favorite game.
Yeah.
Nice. So how did you make the merger from Hagerty to? From being a collection manager to Hagerty.
Well,
did they approach you, or how did that come about?
So interestingly, my predecessor, the person who was a collection manager before me, when he left the job, he went to Hagerty, and so we were very good friends, and just continually maintained our friendship organically over the years. And as he grew in his career in Hagerty, he started saying, when are you going to come work for me? When are you going to come work for me? For a few years, and I was really happy doing collection management, getting to go to all these car events and just do these amazing things. But after a while, I kind of got the itch to take my career to the next level and do something different. So I just finally said, what would that look like if I came to work for you guys? Coincidentally, they were launching this new program that he said, hey, I think a lot of your skills as a collection manager would translate nicely to this. So here I am.
Yeah, well, he knew how hard your current job was at the time. He's like, you want to come over here, more cars. No.
So you've gotten to drive some pretty amazing stuff, though. Every time you showed up to an event, you showed up in something pretty fantastic. Do you have any favorites from over the years? We're not going to drop names as a collection manager. That's kind of the big faux pas. Don't talk about whose collection you manage, just to be clear.
Or Bruno. I heard that in a movie once. Don't talk about Bruno. Yeah.
Yes.
Fight Club?
Yeah, Fight. Hey, you just broke the rule.
Oh, it's just between us.
I brought the knife and the piece of soap. We got to carve it. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you're an enthusiast on your own, but what are some of your favorites you've driven over the years?
So I got asked this question a lot, and you're right. I've been very lucky about getting to drive some amazing cars, but usually it's like whatever I drove most recently stuck out because that's the car that you fell in love with. One thing, if I could have any of the cars, price notwithstanding, for myself, Aston Martin DB4 GT.
Yeah,
I
don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, what I love about it is in the car world, you can do anything with it. You can take it to a concours. You can have it on the racetrack, vintage race it. You can take your girlfriend or wife to dinner in it. You can go on a drive with your friends. You can do you can just go out and drive it. You can drive it to the store. And it's a fantastic driving car. It sounds good. It handles good. Never driven a Zagato, but the regular DB4 GT that I have driven was spectacular.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's kind of the perfect car. It doesn't get much classier. Period. A vintage Aston Martin of any kind. I mean, yeah.
Well, and I mean, if you want, did Bond drive a 4? It was a 5.
Yeah,
he drove a DB5. Yeah,
but still, you could you could be pre James Bond.
Yeah. Well, the DB4 GT has the closed headlights like a DB5, so most people look at it and think, oh, it's the James Bond car.
Yeah.
It's just the lighter, faster, more expensive version of it.
Exactly, right. Apparently, I did not think about it. Is so multi-purpose. In my mind, I think I look back at some of those cars and I'm like, if I owned something like that or had the means, as they say, how would Ferris Bueller say? I highly suggest if you have the means. I think I would drive it all the time because I think that's, you have the risk and that's why you have Hagerty. But I understand that. So
that's always been my advice with cars is I want to drive them all. Yeah. And I do. And then it's, 40,000 miles in a year later on every car I've had. And that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, that sounds like a horrible problem to have.
It is financially.
Well, yeah, I understand. You're taking a loss. But, if you're enjoying them, that's the important thing.
Yeah. By the way, did you see what they had your Turbo S listed for recently?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, we talked about it on the show. 135. And, I think I bought it for 104, sold it for 97. A little over, yeah.
Well, they must have just improved it tremendously from when you had it. I'm
totally.
Sure that,
yeah, the second owner drove it for a year, put like 12,000 miles on it, and he bought 2 McLarens, and then,
that extra 12,000, that's what, pushed the value up.
Right. So in order to replace the joy he got out of that Porsche, he had to buy 2 McLarens.
One for him and one his wife.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I get that.
Which is a pretty cool problem to have.
Right.
My wife wants one too.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. We've seen that happen in the car world from time to time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What are you driving now? You've got a bunch of cool cars.
I got a couple cars. So outside, 2007 BMW 328 Xi wagon. It does have the newer front end on it.
Yeah,
yep. And I love that car. I think it's a perfect daily driver. Interestingly, I know it's not like a super rare car, but I had to search to find the one that I wanted. So it's kind of a cool story. I was looking for an E91 wagon just because I wanted something, reliable, comfortable, all-wheel drive. So we do get some snow here or whatever, and a wagon because wagons are the ultimate vehicle. And couldn't find anything. I was looking for a while, and finally I just expanded my Craigslist search. One popped up in San Francisco. I remember it was a Saturday in April a year ago, and Sunday morning I was getting off the plane at SFO, and Sunday night I was rolling back into Seattle. So
I love BMW.
Yeah.
My parents had a E46 325 Xi, which I just absolutely loved. I mean, it was because there was so much. It was a perfect amount of room. I mean, it was automatic, but it just went up. It got up and goes, and that all-wheel drive system's great.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think the U.S. is really the only place that gets the Xi because the Germans are like, yeah, we know how to drive cars in the rear end up snow hills. So
snow tires,
for sure. That being said, when we got snow last winter, I was like pulling people out of ditches and up hills with a tow strap on it.
That's funny
because it can.
Yep, exactly. I still have a tow strap in the storage under the trunk back there.
That's good. In case you need to pull somebody out. Yeah.
You have another BMW though, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I have a 1991 325i, which is E30. I've had
So classy.
a few
Love
E30s
that car.
over the year.
Yeah.
I can't seem to get away from them, but this one is the one that I've done the most stuff to. So it still has the stock original, well, not the original, but M20B25 inline six, but it also has a 62 millimeter turbo on it, running about 17 pounds of boost. So when it was on the dyno last, it made 417 wheel
Holy
horsepower.
crap! I didn't know it had that much. Dang.
Yeah.
Slow.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
That engine bay's always been kind of asking for turbos. Though.
Yes.
Like it's like there's as small of a car as it is, like that engine was very centered, and you're like, there's so many things that could go on the side of these.
Oh yeah, iron block, and like I am not I didn't do any R&D on this. It's been done a million times, and I just copied all the people who went before me. But I absolutely love it, and it's been a ton of fun. That was when COVID first happened, like March of 2020, and people were like, doing group Zoom calls with their friends and playing games, and the celebrities were singing. I was in my garage being like, I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to turbo my car. Because when I was back in college, I had a different E30, and I started to undertake that process on it, but I, was less knowledgeable, had less money, and was doing it in a carport, and then some kids totaled my car. So that kind of, never happened. So it was something I'd always wanted to do since then, and finally got to make it happen.
Yeah.
So you did it all yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I had it tuned by 22 RPD in Renton, and they kind of specialize in.
But you built it in the garage. I mean, you mounted the turbo. You did all of that.
Oh yeah,
that's
And
what I'm saying.
I
Okay,
welded the exhaust and did all the wiring and mega squirt, and had to cut a good portion of the front end off to hide the intercooler in there. A big part of it, I had to keep my air conditioning, so I had to learn how to make AC lines, and
That's not easy.
No.
It's surprisingly easy if you have the right tool, actually.
But yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
It's not if you have the right tool, but it's not a job most people are willing to undertake.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought, and I'm like, I was kind of nervous about it, and I thought it was going to leak or whatever, but I bought a hydraulic crimper. It wasn't that expensive. I think I got it off Amazon or eBay or something, and once you have the right tool, it's piece of cake.
Yeah,
But so yeah, the E30 does have working air conditioning.
well, that's I mean, you'd need it. Yeah, it's not fast enough to let wind come through the windows, so you'd need air conditioning.
Well, one thing we'll say for everybody we know at Hagerty, and we know a lot, and nobody paid us to say this, but everybody I know working at Hagerty is an enthusiast.
Well, I do think there's a lot of cool people there. And, that's part of the reason I wanted to go work there, because when I'm out at car events or just doing car stuff, because it's my hobby, like a lot of my friends worked at Hagerty. So it's like, oh, cool. If I like you guys, I want to work with you.
Yeah, but I will say this: it's no insult to anybody else in the other industries, but a lot of car people I meet that are working for other companies, they're not car people. Like I think what you're talking about is
they can still be good at their job.
Yeah,
but
every
they're
Hagerty
not.
person we know loves cars and has a car they're working on, or has a I mean, look at Ashley's T-Bird and things like that.
The Jeep
and the
Jeep.
Jeep. I forgot about the Jeep. Yes,
Yeah.
so I mean, multiple projects that they're willing to work on, and they share that passion because. A lot of times people don't understand. It's like you're working doing cars, and a lot of people want to go home and don't want to talk about cars, which I don't get. But these people seem to.
Well, they're wrong, but
I agree. Everybody has a sickness, but yeah,
that's funny.
That's amazing. So did that just sort of happen with COVID? Or were you planning to build?
Like I said, I'd always wanted to do it. I started doing it back when I was in college, and then I just was never in the right place. I was living in an apartment in Seattle. I always had an excuse, and so finally, when COVID started, it wasn't even like I had all the parts sitting there. It's just like I pulled into the garage one day. I was like, we're going to do it. I don't care if it takes me a year, buying a few parts here and there at a time. It snowballed pretty quickly after that, and I was like fully engrossed in it. So I think it was late July, early August when I finally drove it for the first time, boosted. So that's 5-ish months.
That's not bad at all, actually.
My dad's got a buddy in Spokane who did a project during COVID, and he's like, it was wonderful. He's like, I just told people, don't come over here because I feel like I might be sick. And he's like, I got away with it for like 4 months. Like, nobody bothered me. He's like, I could do what I wanted.
I mean, everyone was in deep isolation.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
why not?
I had known that I had wanted to do it for a while. So like this car, this black E30, the one that's turboed, was actually my mom's car for a long time. But it was an automatic. And so I previously had converted it to a 5-speed, and like when I did that, I put an upgraded clutch in it, knowing like I'm gonna, have hopefully around this
there will be more power
horsepower level, And when I what happened to it? I had to replace the head for some reason. I think it ate a camshaft actually. The original engine had like 300,000 miles on it. So when I, refreshed the engine, I put ARP studs in it and so I was getting ready for it basically.
Yeah. Sure. Where does your car knowledge come from? When you grew up, did you have, a lot of us, you seem like the type of person like Dan, where you're like, I don't know how to do, AC lines. I'll just buy the stuff and I'll teach myself.
Yeah, I never really like went to any sort of official course or anything, but I've really always just been interested in mechanical things. Like one of my earliest memories when I was like 4 or 5 years old, my parents would take us to friends' houses and I would go around opening their closets until I found their vacuum cleaners. I don't know why, but I just like, because it was like a machine. I liked things. And then like a few years after that, my uncle
You're a
had
special snowflake, huh?
Yeah. No, I literally have photos of me with like 8 different vacuum cleaners.
Mom,
Like,
it's a Dyson.
yeah,
Sure,
no.
okay, fair.
It sounds weird, but that was real. And so just, I would always kind of tinker with stuff.
The first motors. I did that as a kid too. You pull the motor apart and figure out how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Never worked again afterwards, but
No, I didn't say it worked afterwards. That was broken when I found it.
A lot of things didn't go back together.
Absolutely,
but so I've just kind of been curious and not afraid to take stuff apart. I tend to think, like, people always talk about cars and they say, oh, how do you know how to do that? Like, I would mess it up. A lot of things only go back together one way, really.
Yeah,
it's true.
But so it started with vacuum cleaners and dirt bikes and slowly eventually cars and on from there. And I've had various jobs, like I worked in a garage after school in high school. I managed a Midas when I was in college, stuff like that. So I've worked as a mechanic to varying degrees over the years, and that definitely helped like learn like diagnostic skills and just not be afraid to like take stuff apart, big jobs, whether it's like a transmission or an engine or whatever. But
the transmissions were
nope.
Nope.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking apart an automatic transmission.
No. I'm just saying.
That's voodoo.
Yeah.
I watched the guy the other day, because this is the type of things we do, is I watched the guy rebuild a T56 out of a C5 Z06 and like upgrade the entire internals.
All the valves and the
and not that, just like the tolerance, it's like, half a 1,000th.
Oh, okay.
I'm just like, nope.
Oh yeah, no, my rebuilds aren't like that at all.
I was just like, no way.
I will say another factor with me just like trying to do stuff myself is that I generally like want things that I can't afford, and so the way you get those things is you buy like one with 1 million miles or that's broken or whatever. Yep. So
yeah, as they say, a lack of skill is the luxury of the rich.
Yeah. I haven't heard that before, but true.
Yeah,
makes me feel poor, but also happy.
Otherwise you have to fix things.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you run into any problems though?
What do you mean?
Doing your builds? Especially with the turbo install?
So I had the first tuner who tuned the car afterwards didn't do a very good job. I won't name him, but you can DM me if you have questions. And so basically what happened is he set the base timing with the timing light and it was off. So that blew a head gasket pretty quick, but it didn't torch the head or a piston or anything.
Thank God. I was going to say that could go really bad.
Yeah. I mean, the M20s are pretty stout engines. So I put that back together. One thing, I did have problems. I bought a manifold that a lot of people had used, and I read that it had boost creep issues, and I surely enough had the same issues as everyone else did. So I talked to 22 RPD. They helped me TIG weld the wastegate flange directly onto the turbine housing.
Oh, okay.
So now I have rock solid boost control. But other than those two things, pretty good. I had to get better tires because it was pretty scary lighting up third gear in the drive, but
that's fun though.
Yeah,
that car doesn't weigh anything.
I think I hear different numbers, like 2650 maybe for a coupe. Yeah.
Okay, I always tell everybody the sweet spot for horsepower is at least 100 horsepower per 1,000 pounds, and that's when they're like, okay, that's an adequate amount of horsepower for something. So my Raptor is underpowered, just to say. But
there's more on the table, though.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So at 400, you're doing great, though.
Yeah. And I'm curious what the crank horsepower is. I don't know the exact loss, but
still.
And you said you built the exhaust manifold too?
No. I bought the exhaust manifold. I MIG welded up the exhaust. Just got a box of bends and kind of figured that out. And
that must have been kind of fun.
Yeah, that is fun.
I have seen that done, and I'm like, oh, that looks like something that I could figure out. Like, we had a friend of ours that tried to teach me to weld, or at least, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I did enjoy it. I mean, what it would cost to get into it and what I would do with it, I don't know. But it looks like, yeah,
it'd be useful. It'd be fun though.
100%. But it's like, I think as kids, you go through a kid's closet and you've got all these different things that they've tried. Like, and I mean, I just don't want to turn my garage. I'm like, yep, that's a welder. Haven't touched it in 6 years, but
Yeah, so, right now it's all home improvement tools. Then it'll be car tools.
Yes, you've turned yours into a Home Depot and a.
Yes. Yeah. I should be sponsored by DeWalt.
So hint. Team DeWalt. Yeah. 20 volt max. They just came out with a ratchet. I've had the cordless impact for years and have the ratchet. I need one.
Keep your DeWalt side of it.
So I have the Milwaukee ratchet, actually.
No,
I have both, but I have the Milwaukee ratchet. Everything else is DeWalt.
Everything I have is DeWalt too, so I didn't want to buy the Milwaukee. I was waiting out DeWalt, but fun story. When I was like 14 or 15, all I wanted was a welder. My dad was a carpenter. He wasn't a car guy, but he worked with his hands, and he was supportive of me. And so he went and got me a little Lincoln 110 volt or 120 whatever arc welder, MIG welder. And I learned how to weld, and it was great. And I did a lot of projects with it over the years. And eventually, I think it was in my freshman year of college, it was in my parents' house in a shed. And they went out there to get the wheelbarrow one day, and they said, "Hey, wheelbarrow's gone." Turns out someone stole my welder. They put it in the wheelbarrow and wheeled it away.
That was nice of you to give them transportation.
So now I haven't replaced it yet. I've just used, welders at work or whatever else, but
That sucks.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
not
like that suck.
I'm not bitter about it or anything, but
Yeah, I hope they electrocuted themselves.
Yeah.
Or welded
Wow.
their hand.
I mean, I'm not wrong. You're not wrong. Wow. Exactly. I hope the wheelbarrow broke and you had to weld it on the fly.
I hope the wheelbarrow broke and it fell on your foot. That hurt.
What skills are you looking for? Like, what do you want? What's the next thing you want to learn automotive? Like that you haven't done yet?
I would really like to get more comfortable with tuning.
Okay.
Like standalone computer tuning. There's just so much that you can do with it, and I know the basics of it. I could probably make something run, but I'm not really comfortable taking an expensive high horsepower engine and claiming that I'm anywhere capable.
Sending a
of,
piston through the.
Yeah, no, I can do that, but I want to avoid that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's definitely one thing, and my car's on Megaskirt, which is pretty basic as far as standalone ECUs go, but when you get into like the Hollies or the Haltech or whatever, like it's just amazing what people can do. Like my car I could do launch control or like no lift shift, but I haven't done it yet, but it's down the road. I'll play with that.
You'll break the stuff in the future, but there's better ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd like to learn is TIG welding. Like I said earlier, I can MIG weld just fine, not claiming to be an expert at it or anything, but when I watch these people nowadays, how good they are at TIG welding and just like basically to be a little bit better of a fabricator, I'd love to be able to do that.
Yeah.
There's an art to it. When you see somebody that knows how to weld, MIG or TIG,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's like, I don't even paint that. Just let me look at it. I mean, it's just everything's perfect and it's on top of each other. And, yeah.
For sure.
You don't want to even cover up the welds in the exhaust when they're so
Absolutely
so beautiful,
not, yeah.
the perfect little scallops. Just
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a Haltech E6K on my RX-7. Had no idea how it worked, but it was on there and somebody else tuned it. Just to put that out there.
It was in the car. That counts. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to learn how to tune. It's something I should figure out how to do, but I'm too scared to do anything I own.
Yeah, me too, right?
Well, that's the beautiful. We have friends that will gladly give us their cars, right? I mean, enough. I mean, computer-wise, I think you could figure it out. And you're going, okay, figuring out, where your spark is going to be, and you're at your advance, and I think I could probably look at it. I don't know if I could make something run, but I think I could.
I've learned way too much by the aftermath of getting it wrong. That's what I'm afraid of. Is I learn a lot by the failure. So
there has to be like virtual engines or things like that where you can go online and like play with the tune and see what happens, and where you're not blunt. If not, right there is like that would be kind of fun.
That virtual tuner, just like design that into a video game,
right?
Like,
why couldn't it be? I mean, you got to think about that with the games we've had. That could happen. So, yeah.
And then you can export your tune to to Dan's car.
It didn't blow up in the game.
Yeah.
I took the tune off my Z06 and I put it in my Subaru and it didn't work.
Well, the Subaru is going to blow up no matter what.
Well, that's a different story. Yeah. I keep looking under the hood that going, I can do bigger turbo.
Oh man, when I had my S2000, that was like that. Speaking of a hood that is just begging for turbos and superchargers, it's an S2000.
Supercharger,
because you're like turbocharger, supercharger, or V8 because it's big enough for all of them.
Could you put a V8 in that car?
Oh, easily.
Pretty narrow. Oh, okay.
It's because they designed it to have such a perfect weight ratio, so there's tons of room in the engine bay.
Up in the front, people do an LS with a turbo in front of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's super. The engine is like dead center. That car has an incredible weight ratio, and so there's tons of room around it. I mean, you'd screw up the weight ratio, don't get me wrong, but you could throw in like 800 horsepower.
I remember when that car came out and looking at, because you were so used to popping the hoods on a Honda and seeing it going this way, and you're like, wait a minute, it goes to the back?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a cool
it's
engine.
a Honda.
Yeah. What is on your bucket list for cars? What do you want? You see everything all the time, so I'm curious.
Well, I mean, aside from the DB4 GT,
Right.
I talk with my friend Jack all the time. We try to think about like, what do we think? We look at how prices have skyrocketed. And we're like, what do we think is going to be the next thing? So I'm just telling you guys that you're gonna have to edit it out because I don't want the whole world to know what I'm looking for out there.
No promises.
But one thing, when I was a kid, there was a guy who lived nearby us, and he had a 2003 20th anniversary edition Volkswagen GTI in yellow. They had the cool like R32 style wheels on it, cool seats, manual, and I just always wanted one of those. It was like brand new at the time. And compared to a lot of cars, GTIs, Mark IV GTIs are still pretty cheap. So I've got the Craigslist searches set, and I'm looking for one. And it's got to be a 20th anniversary edition. Doesn't have to be yellow. I take Nogaro blue, but those are really hard to find too. Or I forget what other colors they came in. But
is it this Volkswagen that had? Is it the Wolfsburg package? What was there was a GTI that was that
There's,
was like
the anniversary edition, and there's the 337, which was a really rare one.
Okay.
And
then the R32.
Yeah, the R32 was the
R32s have already prices have
Yeah,
gone
they've
way
gone
up.
through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I think the formula is relatively simple. It's whatever you thought was cool, and then you hit your mid-40s. So whatever, like, the generation, like if you were born in the 90s, you will think, well, what you thought was cool when you could drive will be something that will be built from 2005 to 2020. And so, and then when they hit 40...
Chevy HHR.
Yeah, Chevy HHR. So when they hit 40...
And an SSR next to it.
Yeah.
Should get me started.
Will be what's valuable.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
that's what you always wanted when you were a kid, and now you have money, so you buy it.
But so for like the kind of the low end, I do want to, I'm looking for a GTI, but my first car that I actually drove was a 73 Chevy Nova. So I'd like to
That's
get
cool.
some sort of old muscle car. Like I've always wanted a 67, 68 Camaro. I don't know. So I got a couple things that I want.
Oh, man, our friends at Park Place have a Resto Mod 69, I think it is. It's 69 Camaro or 68, something like that. And it's done right. It's a 427, and it's like the interior's all, it's a Resto Mod, but it doesn't have like a, Corbo seats or anything like that. Everything looks like it's sort of period correct. The seats are all custom molded, but they still look old. The transmission shifter is a 6-speed, but it still looks old.
Oh, that's cool.
The dash is all, I mean, it's like $150,000, don't get me wrong, but it's, massive bare brakes, upgraded suspension, because nothing handles worse than a vintage sports car. They just roll around all the time. They're terrible. And it's just like, oh, man, that's what I want to do. I'm not a purist. I want to drive something.
I don't know if you saw my post from this weekend, but I got to meet one of my heroes as far as a car. One of our good friends gave me the keys to his Z8.
Oh, cool.
First of
Great
all,
cruiser.
don't fit in it real well. Even I don't. But that engine, I mean, I've driven that engine in the E39 M5, but that was just an insanely comfortable, fun car. Took a little bit, but I mean, I'm totally happy about it. Like, it took me a while to figure out to look at. Like, I kept hitting the rev limiter because the if you don't know, the dash is offset to the center.
Yeah.
And BMW, the tach should be on this side, and the gauge, the speedometer should be on this side, because you're looking way over for the tach. But amazing car. Like, you're talking about a car that went through the roof, and I mean, I guess I was joking. I got to be James Bond for the weekend, but God, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Some heroes are worth meeting.
It 100% was, and I would love to meet it again. And I mean, it's just a gorgeous car sitting still, and it's so fast. And you talk about, but that was 2002, 2005. So
yeah, it's about right.
So, yeah. So cool. I get that. But as far as your Volkswagen, I think that would be kind of a neat car. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I don't have any front wheel drive cars. I think it'd be like with gas prices high, it gets pretty good gas mileage, and it would be fun for like autocross or whatever. I don't know. I just have always wanted one. Sure. I think they're cool. So.
Sure.
I still want like a Mark II, like really early on.
Sure.
That I like those as well.
Those have already gone
80...
up. Early 80s.
Early 80s, yeah.
They started in 77 was the first year of it, I think. 77, 78.
I'm not
sure.
Know.
And
that
then
car would be great
85.
until somebody in a Raptor hit you. But yeah.
Right, yeah. Put it in the bed of the Raptor practically.
Just take it home, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so as having your finger on the pulse, what have you seen out there that's coming that you're kind of looking forward to? Like,
just production cars or motorsport?
Cars or, I mean, anything. Yeah.
Well, I told you guys this earlier, which is why you're making fun of me, but I'll repeat it for the podcast. I am really excited about the Corolla GR. I think it's super cool.
We actually do think it's cool. We were making fun of you, but
I was making fun of it. No,
you're making fun of me personally, but the car's cool.
It has nothing to do with the car.
Yeah, got it. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just like there's nothing really else like that out there. I don't know the exact MSRP, but I think they should be relatively affordable. 3-cylinder turbo, like that's different. Turbos are cool. I don't know. It's all-wheel drive, cool seats. Everything I've seen looks really special. I think they're going to be pretty in demand. I'm sure there'll be someone trying to sell it for double MSRP a week after they come out.
That's the problem. I think because the want is there, like you said. How many people have wanting to put a deposit, things like that. And I'm looking at what Ford has done with the Broncos and their dealerships and things like that, and talking how they're saying their dealerships aren't marking anything up. And they caught some dealership with a double markup, and the dealership goes, "Oh, it was a misprint. You literally wrote on their dealer markup."
Yeah.
So
I want a Lightning really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. After looking at every video online, because the fact that it's an extremely practical commuter.
Okay.
It's massive, but it still gets a great range. If they can get one at MSRP, it's really not that expensive compared to any other truck. And the massive frunk. So, and independent suspension. So really comfortable, good range, great for a city truck. But you don't have to give, there's enough room. I don't live in a tight city. If I lived downtown Seattle, of course not. And it would get stolen in a day anyway. But now that I'm out here.
How big are they?
Full-size
They're
F-150.
F-150s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it looks like a regular F-150. I think that's kind of the selling point for me, is it doesn't look like, I like the Rivian, don't get me wrong, I think it's a nice-looking truck, but I love the fact the F-150 just looks like an F-150. And it's fast, and it's got tons of room, and it's comfortable.
Okay, because we can nitpick, right?
Yeah, of course.
They shouldn't have called it the Lightning.
No, they should have made it a performance version.
I understand why the Lightning makes sense with but when I think of a Lightning, I think of Brian's truck from the two-door fast truck.
That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah,
give me a dropped F-150 that's make it all-wheel drive, make it electric. That's fine, but make it a performance variant and then call it something else. I don't know.
I think the first car, and I've told you this, the first car electric-wise that I will actually want to get into. Is the Rivian R1S, the SUV version of the truck.
I haven't seen one on the road yet. I don't even know if they're delivering them yet.
They're not. There are some around town. There has been, I think, one or two in town, but the Michigan plates, they're testing some stuff with the non-dealership. But I watched a bunch of stuff on them, and that 100%, I could see myself in that. So. I get the Lightning truck, and I understand it from a perspective of, I guess what I would like to see with the Lightning truck is, that, they're showing him at a job site with, some guys running a saw, and I'm like, I want to give this to a real contractor, and I want to see, would it last the day? Or do you have to plug it in at the job site so that you can plug things into it, kind of thing. So,
Dan, does your Raptor have the onboard power inverter?
Not in the back. It does have an onboard power inverter. It's 400 watts, but it's in the cab.
Okay.
And so I can run a line to it, and it works just fine. It actually works great. But I would love the one in the Lightning is massive. It's it has a I forget what rating it is. I think it's got 30 amp, and it'll run 220 even out of the back.
Oh, that's like a lot of household items.
Yeah. I don't know. It's meant to run commercial size equipment out of the back of it. It's a massive power bank. So again, like you said. Running a table saw, how long is that thing going to run?
That's what I want to see. You see the commercials, and they're at a job site, and I'm like, okay, first of all, that guy's an actor. I want to see it given. I think that would be the smartest thing Ford could do is give it to a bunch of contractors and put it on a job site and let them beat the crap out of it. Let them, if it works, great. But I feel like a lot of people that are going to buy that truck are going to be your weekend. I'm going to fix the gutters kind of thing, and so
probably.
It's not unique to that truck.
Is there a place where I can empty a tub out and put ice in it?
There is.
Okay, good.
In the front.
That's all I'm looking for.
It has a massive
just like
cooler
Rivian.
in the front.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's.
What are they getting massive markups? I haven't even looked.
Yes.
Okay.
A fully loaded one, you check basically every box, is still not even 100K.
There's a big difference in that, right?
Far as it's 55 to 95.
That's what. Okay,
it's because you get into extended range battery packs and the onboard inverters. You still have your platinum trim levels where it's leather, everything, and cooling, all that, which is fine. That's not uncommon for trucks. Look at an F-150. They base at 40. They sell for 120. You can do that now.
I think I'd want all carbon, keep it light. If you're going to add that much weight, why not put carbon in it, right?
Going to go Lightning.
All the carbon package, all that stuff in your Raptor, I love. So.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of EVs, have either of you heard of the Zero motorcycle?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Well,
we're big motorcycle people.
I saw one. I wasn't sure, but I was out riding with some friends last week, and a friend of a friend showed up on one, and we were going along, and he was kind of hanging out at the back of the pack. And we looked at it when he was stopped. It was really cool. All of a sudden, extra lane opens up, and I see him put his visor down and twist the throttle. It was like he was fast forwarding through time. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yes. Have you ever ridden an electric motorcycle at all?
No, I haven't. I've ridden a Sur-On.
Okay, but the electric.
I think that's something from Lord of the Rings, but
close.
Yeah,
those are the electric motorcycles.
No, I know exactly.
Okay, they're really cool. But if you ever have a chance to ride a full size bike, you should. Anybody who's an enthusiast, even if they mock the weight and everything like that, you got to think about what it's built for. It's just basically a really, really fun commuter and short trips. And oh my God, are they fun? The torque. It's just like you said,
I don't know that much about it, but it must have some sort of wheelie control.
Yes. Yeah, they have great traction control, and they need it because they will literally just burn off the tire. But when they go, they just go. It's great.
I was reading an article, and this is truly my only problem. The more I get into riding is the fact that, on the Monkey and on my bike, I have loud pipes for a reason. And it's so people see me. And I feel like on an electric bike, more people are going to get hit because they're truly not going to see you and they're not going to hear you.
Yeah, they can pump out sound. A lot of them do.
Yeah.
But which they should. But
Nothing's
at the same time,
good.
you're
Nothing
right.
sounds like a Harley. I'm not, ripping up next
I
to
don't
you.
know.
So
I don't think my RC51 was like loud enough to wake the dead, and people still merge into me on 405 all the time.
But and true. But I'm also saying, like, I feel like I love the technology. I think it'd be really cool, especially for off-road, like motocross kind of thing, and just
They need to be able to do a rapid recharge. That's the thing with off-road bikes, is because when you're off-road with them and it's fun, the range becomes so short because you're just railing the throttle all the time, and then it's like 30 miles later you're done.
I just want to get on a bike path so some Karen can yell at me. You can't be on here with a motorcycle. It's not.
Yeah, whispers on by.
Sorry, I can't hear you. I'm saving the environment.
Let me do this more smugly.
Yeah. So
That's funny. Are you a motorcycle enthusiast too then?
Yeah, I like motorcycles. Started with dirt bikes. My current thing right now, me and my friends love riding scooters, like 49cc two-stroke scooters, which I fully appreciate how silly it is for a grown man to talk about his love of scooters, but they're just fun.
They are.
Do you know
tons of
us?
fun.
We have Honda Monkeys.
I know you
And
do.
electric
Yeah.
skateboards.
I know
And
you do,
electric
but
skateboard, yeah.
just so you know, people are making fun of you guys too. For
Oh, we
that.
know.
So, yeah.
We make fun of each other.
Yeah.
That's okay. I was on this weekend. I was online, and I know it's a stupid thing, and I did find one. I did not buy it, but Bugatti is making an electric scooter.
Oh, I know.
Oh, Costco had
It's
those.
sold,
yeah.
They're sold out. I called.
I have to nitpick that statement. I don't think Bugatti is making the electric scooter.
Well, okay. Bugatti put their name on it apparently.
Someone put Bugatti's name on it.
Well, you would think that. I don't know if they'd be able to. They have to have something.
Yeah, they've got a license.
They've got some licensing, but
Just a rebranded
it's
Segway or
$1,000
something.
But I'm like, oh,
It's got to be like a rebranded Segway.
that's not a need. No, it is a rebranded Segway, but supposedly the Bugatti there's bigger engines in it or bigger motors.
yeah,
like that,
I mean,
but the taillight shines the EB Bugatti behind you. I mean, no. So
have you seen the 010 scooters?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can get dual hub drive scooters.
Are those the ones with the suspension?
Yeah, and they do like 70.
I have seen people going absolutely crazy down the street on those.
Kill you.
Yeah.
Did you know there are a group of people right now, and I don't know where they are, and I hate to say this, but I'm following them on TikTok. They are going from Canada to Mexico on one wheels.
Oh my God.
They've got a van that's following them. They've got about 7 or 8 one wheels that charge, and they are one wheeling it all the way from Canada.
You think it'd be easier to modify them to do swappable batteries?
I don't know, but I rode your one wheel for like 30 minutes and couldn't walk for a day.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I don't know how
They're
somebody...
hard.
Yes.
No way.
They're a lot of fun.
and when
but
you crash on those are... Ooh.
It hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
So, yeah.
never struck me as a long distance
No,
vehicle.
I don't. I really don't get that. I mean, I love the electric scooter stuff. I love your Super 73 was such a great bike. That was such a cool bike.
Well, they're making an electric road bike.
yeah.
I already put my deposit down.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And
Okay.
it's a refundable like $100 deposit to get on the list, but I did it like the second I saw the mail because I want to see what's coming up because what they think they're trying to target is a commuter bike.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't actually want an electric motorcycle for long rides. I just don't. I want if I'm going to go for a long ride, I want a dual sport. That's just where I'm at. And so if I'm going to go, if it'll go 30 miles one way and being hard on it, that's enough because that'll get me to the office where I can charge for 5 cents and it'll fill it in 10 minutes.
Sure.
And so if I can do that, like that's perfect because they're building a smaller bike.
Okay.
And I keep thinking like people give us crap all the time until they ride it with us. And that's riding the monkeys and the Groms is the most fun I've ever had on a motorcycle. Of all the motorcycles I've had, I'll take the subcompact thing that's too small for me because I laugh the entire time I'm riding it.
That's how I feel about the scooters.
Yeah. And at this
Support
point,
that.
it's
Yeah.
just, I don't care. Like, laugh at me all you want. I have more fun than you, so whatever. And so when they...
I paid $5 to go 150 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
for
yeah.
my one tank of gas. And
Yeah.
so if they're going to do that with an electric motorcycle, actual license plate bike, and it'll have just enough range to get me to and from work and around town, great. That's way more fun to have something tiny that I can just putt around in because it's so much more maneuverable. It's just fun.
So many jokes there. Okay.
Right.
No. I want to go back a little bit. I want to talk about this new job of what you're doing with Hagerty.
Yeah,
I want to
I
talk
also
about
want Hagerty.
what's happening there, and I mean, if existing Hagerty members, if that's something that's going to be coming to them, or can you kind of explain the program to us? I know it's new, but
Yeah. So like I kind of mentioned earlier, Radius by invitation community for some of the most passionate and influential people in the car hobby. So the idea is basically that we're trying to curate this group of people to have access to really cool events, or if you need any sort of help with automotive resources or travel or shipping or anything, like basically it's your all access pass to all of Hagerty's combined resources, if that makes sense.
But is there actually like a concierge service built into that too with the invitation? Like you were saying with transportation, like
yeah,
if
so
you're
not,
a Hagerty menu.
Yeah, not necessarily. I wouldn't. When people say concierge, you think of like, you know, you call Centurion, you're like, hey, I need you to plan a trip to wherever. Like I'm not necessarily saying that we will do everything like white glove like that, but if you need something, we'll help you get it.
You're going to know the right people.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Fair.
and not even me personally, but just like I said, all of Hagerty's combined experience, the data that they have behind the market and sales and everything else, like you have access to everything. You're supported by them.
That's incredible. I think that's going to be so neat. I think that.
There's definitely an audience for Hagerty.
Of course.
Just all the private collections and those people. I mean, and it's just, do the members get to connect with each other as well as part of it? Because that's a big deal too. Because like when you have a collection like that, no matter how generous you want to be, you don't really want all of that out there for the world to see. It's just too much money. It's like opening the bank vault and saying, hey, don't take anything. You don't do that.
Yeah.
And so it's cool that those members have a way to connect, because then it gives you people who will have the same interests as you to really connect in a way that's a little less concerning to them.
That's why I was kind of emphasizing the community aspect of it. It really is about, you know, building this community.
Cool. Which is important. And like you said, you know, if somebody's going to be in your collection, they're not going to take from yours if they have one too.
Or they'll help you add to it if you have cool things.
Exactly.
Like, and so far like I said, we've been kind of with a smaller group of trial founding members. And so we've put on a few events in 2021 and 2022. We're planning stuff for Car Week with them. And that'll really ramp up in 2023 with the full launch.
Very cool.
What do the events look like? Like, tell us about an event that's already happened.
So like one they did at Pebble Beach last year, which I was not working for them then, but was at the event just because this conversation was ongoing. But it's called Tastemakers, and it was a really intimate gathering with Christian von Koenigsegg talking about the latest cars that they had made and were going to be making in the near future. And so it was probably like 60 people and Christian, and it was just like super cool. They had probably six Koenigsegg's in the driveway. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the models because they're a lot of sounds I'm not familiar with in there, but
Yesco's, Regera, CCX.
There was a Yesco, and there was it Regera or Agera?
Regera. I think it's Regera. Regera.
I know the car. I don't know how to say
it. Exactly. That's why I'm letting Nick butcher.
Fair enough.
But so it's really cool.
Wow.
I mean, Christian's at a lot of events and likes to talk to people, but there's always 1,000 people trying to talk to him. So it's really cool just to be able to go up and like talk to him one-on-one like a normal dude.
I met Christian von Koenigsegg down in Monterey. They were pulling a car off a trailer, and he was driving across the parking lot, and literally was driving across the parking lot. And I started talking to him. He's like, jump in. That was the first time I was ever in a Koenigsegg. And I drove across the parking lot with him and had probably a 15-second conversation. Kindest, nicest man you'll ever meet. So intelligent. Because not only his own intelligence, but he knows when he goes, he's not afraid to go, I don't know that. And I mean, the technology that's about to come out of Koenigsegg with that new four-seater and all that. And,
yes, they had one.
And their new
so beautiful.
Gemera is the new four-seater, but the new their electric drive which is going to be going out. They're working with other partners, is incredible. He's if you don't know, go on YouTube. They're building a whole big new factory to build their motors and their cars and stuff like that.
The amount of technology that they have pioneered in-house with such a small team blows my mind. Yeah.
But I think that's why it works, because he can still walk out of his office and walk into the tech guy right next door and go, what do we do, and make me understand this? And so it's incredible. That's incredible. But that sounds like it would be amazing.
Well, not only that, isn't it? Puts Christian right in front of the people that are actually the market for his cars, not just enthusiasts, but people that actually can be like, write the check.
Yeah, which I don't know if Christian, I mean, I'm sure Christian wants to have a successful business, but I think he just likes talking to people who are stoked about his cars. Yeah,
He's never done it about the money.
Fun fact about that event, that was 2021, and COVID restrictions were getting tightened again right at that time, and so he was the only person from his company flew over from Europe to come do this. He landed at SFO. We had a car waiting for him, drove straight down to Monterey, and he went straight to the house, went upstairs and showered, and then came down and did the event.
Took him forever to do his hair.
Naturally, a lot of people were pulling their hair out if they had any waiting for him, but it all worked out, and it was just really cool. So that's kind of the type of event that we like to do. And then the other part of it is like, extra access at other public facing car events like the Hospitality Suite at Amelia or Pebble or stuff like that.
Sure. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Like, I mean, as you know, and I can't imagine, getting something like an invitation like that, because I know the hospitality and the care I get with Hagerty just being a normal member, if there is anything such as a normal member with Hagerty.
Right.
But
I'm a normie there.
well, but I'm saying, like, I feel like everybody is special. It doesn't matter if you have a piece of shit, Chevrolet, or a Ferrari GT or whatever. No, what I'm saying, like, if they're insuring your car, it's just as important as the guy next to you they're insuring their car who's got $100 million. I mean, it's the care is there, which I like.
Yeah,
So,
they always treat us well.
We should have had them as sponsors.
We totally.
Oh yeah, we should have done that. Yeah, exactly. That was actually one of my favorite things, is when people would come up to us and recite the commercials back to us.
I know.
It was always great. So
Yeah, actually, send us 2 more commercials.
yeah,
We'll play for 2 years.
Gosh, oh yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. So
You miss our commercials.
I do. I don't know if I could recite them anymore. It's been a while since I heard them. So yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, well, Evan, we're about that time, I think.
Cool.
Thanks for coming out. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, it's been really great chatting with you guys.
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Thanks for letting your handler bring you. It's
Yes.
it's good. So.
Well, I'm glad you had snacks for her. That's
Well, I mean, she got so hangry.
Yeah.
No,
We have cake.
yeah,
I think we need to get together and ride our tiny motorcycles around.
sounds great.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
100%.
I gotta warn you though, one of my scooters is pretty hopped up. So
Well,
it's
okay.
gonna be a race.
I have to
Yeah.
warn you, my monkey's a little hopped up.
Okay,
hopped
it's,
up.
So
it's
is the
on.
guy driving it. So yeah, excellent. Well, thank you as always.
Yeah, I was going to say thanks again to the crew at MotoFish for having us, Greg. And it's been a great spot to be able to come to. We will be here more often and working with them more, so you guys will see more of this place. I was actually going to bring in the truck and park it behind and have the truck right here, but it's filthy and I didn't want to mess up their floor.
Yep.
So I decided not to do that.
I
Very
can't wait till they
considerate
listen
idea.
to this and they figure out we hid that one thing. But,
Yeah.
it's whatever. So
I mean, ate all their oranges.
tempting, so tempting, so tempting.
There's an inside joke
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Sorry, audience.
yeah.
All right, Evan, how do people get a hold of you if they want to? If they're in your bracket and they want to get a hold of you, because I know a lot of Avance members are. I'm sure there's other people listening to this.
Easiest way is probably just evan.zema on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yep. Zema.
Yeah, Zema.
Yeah. Sounds like the drink, but it's spelled different.
Yeah.
Said like the drink.
Less
I can't remember
citrusy.
I can't remember the quote from the Green Mile. Same as the drink, but spelled different.
Oh yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, so.
Anyway.
Cool.
Excellent. All right. Well, for this episode of the Rains,
Ooh.
that is the first time I've almost done
That's
that.
the first time.
All right. For this episode of the Avance podcast,
That's correct.
I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.